Thank you, and welcome back to another episode of Streetpreneur Podcast. We are the podcast for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startup companies. And we went to the streets to find you guys another great entrepreneur that's doing things in the marketplace. This time, I know a lot of you have seen the area views, and you've seen on Instagram and also on other social media platforms those cool area shots. Whether you've seen them over the rooftops at pool parties, whether you've seen them at rooftop parties, whether you've seen them for corporate use. We have an entrepreneur here today that is in the drone business. He's been in the drone business for a number of years. He's definitely making an impact in the industry. And we're going to introduce him here today live on Streetpreneur Podcast. But before we do that, we want you guys to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this interview, please share it, and also submit it on your other social media platforms. And let's get back into the show. Now, I want to introduce this CEO. He goes by the name of CEO X Drone. He's been in the business for years. He is a licensed FAA 107 drone pilot. So we're talking to a professional here. We're talking to a man that does this for a living, flies drones, and he's also African-American. So some of his accomplishments and some of the clients that he's had in the past and in the present would be the Hyatt Hotels, the Cobb Travel and Tourism, Punt City Market. He's also involved in sports as well, such as the ATL Open Tennis Tournament, also Bank of America. He's done numerous music festivals throughout the city. And I would like to welcome Mr. Drew Serrette to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. How you feel today?
Man, I feel good. It's a pleasure being here. It's something I've never done before, so I'm really excited to show the people what it's like to be a FAA drone pilot and also answer all their questions.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, we're happy to have you. Let's kind of get into your background. Tell them a little bit about where you're from and just how do you get your start? How did you actually get to start in this industry?
So where I'm originally from is New York, upstate New York, but I guess I'm an ATLian now. I've been in Georgia for about 16, 17 years. I stopped counting after a while. But how I got started in drones is my homeboy actually bought a drone. And when he bought a drone, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get into it. And I was on Amazon, I was searching, and I was gonna buy like the $100 drones.
Yeah.
And my homeboy hit me up, hey man, I changed my mind. I crashed my drone. I don't think I'm gonna use it anymore. And I'm like, does it still fly? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay. So I asked my girl, I was like, should I buy it from him? And she was like, yeah. So I called up my homeboy. I was like, hey, how much do you want for your drone? And he was like, $50. I was like, oh, that's a steal. Like looking on Amazon and seeing $100 drones, like this is a steal. Not knowing that the drone that he was going to give me was actually worth $500.
Oh, man.
So once I got the drone, you know, you do what everybody does. Go to YouTube University and start looking up things. And once I got on YouTube University, I realized, oh, I got to register with the FAA. Oh, this is going to be a lot more interesting than I thought. So I started watching drone maneuver videos on the drone and pretty much went from there.
Okay. And when did you start flying drones professional? When did you decide to go from hobby to professional business owners? When did you make that transition?
I believe, now don't quote me on this because I've been in the game for about 3 years now. Okay. So I believe it was 2022 is when I officially became licensed with the FAA. And that's when I actually went professional with it. Okay.
So just kind of walk us through the process. So you met your friend, you bought his drone, you started practicing and you got better with it. Walk us to the steps in order to obtain the licenses for the drone.
Okay. So the first step, right? The first thing you have to do anytime you want a drone is you have to register it with the FAA. Okay. Now, personally speaking, the FAA's website, and for those who don't know what the FAA stands for, is Federal Aviation Administration. So the abbreviation for it is FAA. So that's the terminology that we'll be using throughout the podcast. But you need to register it with the FAA. Now, granted, their website says any drone that is sub 250 grams, right? So any drone that is over that, you have to register. Any drone that is under that, you don't have to register. However, I always recommend registering everything. Second, if you want to be a hobbyist, you need to go ahead and take your trust certification. What that is that's a free exam. It's literally training that you can go to Pilot Institute. Now, Pilot Institute does not pay me, but they are the website that you can go and get the training done. And on their website, they'll take you through all the steps, give you the exam, and once you pass it, you're certified as a hobbyist. Now, to become professional, that's when the fun comes in.
Okay.
You're actually going to go to the FA's website to register to be a Part 107 pilot. They'll take you to Acura, which is a website where you'll register for your pilot's rating and all the other gadgets and gizmos. And then after that, you'll start studying. Now, there are multiple ways to study for the Part 107 exam. You have the option of, like I said, Pilot Institute, because they also have classes, or you could take the route I did. The route I took was I actually went to Barnes & Noble and purchased I forget the company's name, but it's a Part 107 study guide book. Now, granted, if you go on my Amazon storefront, it is definitely already there for you to purchase under Part 107 Essentials.
Okay.
And once you have that study guide, you start reading through it. And I'll be honest, the test is not easy. Everything that you're going to study is going to be just, I would say, a dumbified down version of what actual pilots study. So from how the aircraft maneuvers, how weather factors into the aircraft, there's going to be a bunch of different things that you study. After that, you'll sign up for the exam. It's $175, and hopefully you pass it on the first try. If you pass it on the first try, you get your temporary license on that same day. And then after that, you go ahead and wait, and then you'll get like a nice little, really cool license in the mail from the FAA when they're ready to send it.
Okay. All right. So now that we have that phase out of the way, so now we have our license. How did you start marketing and advertising the business to get your clients? And who was your first client?
So advertising and marketing, I'm gonna go against the grain when I say this, because a lot of people think that the first thing you need to do at advertise and market is cold calling places and also doing a lot of work when it comes to finding businesses that need drones. I didn't go that route. I went straight to Instagram, like 100% straight to Instagram. I started just posting random photos. And honestly, my photos were not that good starting out. So the fact that my first client was the Hyatt Corporation for 2 hotels was kind of interesting. So I literally posted a photo of Buckhead, Atlanta, and it was literally, so for everybody who knows Atlanta, if you're coming from Sandy Springs and Dunwoody area, going 400 South, you know that nice little skyline of Buckhead, right? I posted that as a photo. Okay. Somehow it got the attention of the Hyatt Corporation, and they actually DM'd me and asked me if I was available to shoot for 2 of their hotels. I did not know exactly what to say to that. I was very excited, but I try to keep calm and very professional about it. So after they asked me, I pretty much told them, hey, yes, I'm interested, and we started talking details. So on the the Grand Hyatt in Buckhead and the Hyatt Centric in Midtown were the 2 hotels that they asked me to go shoot, and I ended up taking out my drone, which actually the drone that I used for those was a very, very beginner drone. It was a DJI Mini 2. 4K quality. However, it wasn't as great as the quality is nowadays on a lot of the newer 4K drones because the sensor wasn't that good. But they hired me, pulled out the drone, got all the shots that they wanted, and they were one happy customer at the end of it all.
Okay. You bought a couple of drones with you today to show the audience. Let's take a look at them and just tell us on the make and model.
Okay.
And also give them a recommendation for a beginner drone that they can start with that still produces good quality versus the professional drones that you bought here today.
Okay, definitely. So this drone right here is called the DJI Mini 3 Pro. This is the 3rd generation of DJI Mini series drone. And this drone is actually the predecessor of the drone I originally had.
Okay.
So the drone I originally had was the DJI Mini 2. It had no obstacle avoidance on it whatsoever. So if you crash, you crash. But this one actually has frontward sensors, backward sensors, and downward sensors to double check on things. It shoots in 4K. But the very amazing thing about this drone is that a lot of my clients love is it can shoot vertical. So the camera can actually turn this way and shoot vertical for clients. And in this day and age, a lot of the clients are looking for short form content. So that's perfect.
Okay.
The second drone I bought with me today is my new pride and joy. She is Blue Storm, or also known as the DJI Avata 2.
Okay.
She is my FPV, and she has gotten me a lot of the best shots that I ever have gotten recently. I actually consider this drone my Top Gun drone, because I also consider myself like a little Tom Cruise, because I like to do risky things at times. But this is my DJI Mini 2, and well, not DJI Mini 2, DJI Avata 2. And she, in order to control her, we use goggles. Okay. So once those goggles are on, it's actually, I'm seeing exactly what's in the camera view at that point. Okay. And then we also use this motion controller, which you can use a regular controller for as well, but this steers her. So I would steer her like this, and then the goggles would be on my head. So the goggles will look something like this on my head, and like I could turn my head, and when I turn my head, that would also turn the camera.
Okay. And give us a price breakdown of each drone. What does each drone cost?
Whew.
An estimate.
Not even an estimate. So this one runs you, nowadays, this one will run you about $900 because there is a predecessor called the DJI Mini 4 Pro now. Okay. However, back when I purchased it, it was $1,500. After my entire setup that I have for it, we would say about $2,000.
Okay. Does that include software? Any software, anything?
It does not.
That's just for the individual drone itself.
Well, actually, kind of sort of includes software. So the 1,200 price range would include the controller setup. So
you get the controller, you get the
controller, you get the drone to control it, and you would get 3 batteries because I buy the Fly More kit. Okay. So that would be that for $1,200. Now, the extra amount of money I spent is for like ND filters, landing pads, and more propellers just in case I kill a propeller or something. Okay. That's what kind of like the extra $500 went into.
Okay. And your other drone?
This one starts out.
Your baby?
Yes, my baby. This one starts out at about, I think it was $1,200. After the setup that I've gotten so far on it, I'm at about $1,600 in total. I haven't gone into more depth of getting more stuff for it just because it's brand new still to the industry.
And how much? And how much are the goggles?
The goggles come with it. So in that? Yeah. So in that 1,200 range, the goggles, the motion controller, and the drone come together.
Okay. Overall, what would you say has been your startup cost for everything to start your business? I know you bought the drones at different times.
So startup cost when I first started the business, $500.
Yeah, because a lot of people want to know the startup cost.
Yeah, so $500.
What would they get you for $500?
So for $500, that could get you, if you're just really wanting to start out and really just wanting to learn, you could easily go on Facebook Marketplace and get like a DJI Mini 2 for like maybe $300, $400, or even like a DJI Mini 3 Pro at this point now for like $300, $400 and start out that way. And that would get you in the hobbyist zone. Now to get you in more of the professional zone, if you have the 175 and 500 and a few other gadgets and gizmos, you're looking at maybe like $1,000 to start out.
Okay. And one more thing, your pricing. I know you mentioned your hotel clients were some of the first clients that you've had. Just kind of give us a breakdown of how you estimate your prices per project. I'm just saying, if you're doing a music festival, it'd be this price. If you're doing a business grand opening for maybe they only need you for an hour, what would that price be? Just kind of give us a price point breakdown of what they can expect to charge their customers for somebody starting. I know it varies.
It definitely,
right? Because somebody else, might need you for a full day. Hey, we got a music festival. We need you here from 5 to 8 hours.
It definitely varies. So how my pricing really has started out is I started per project at the beginning, but now I kind of split it into 2. So like music festivals or like events, they're going to be on an hourly basis project. So like from 1 to 4 hours, the client is going to pay anywhere between $200 to $400 per hour, depending on what they need, right? Okay. After they hit 4 hours and they go into 5 hours of needing me, they're paying a day rate of anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000, depending on how long they need me, what all they need, how many times I got to charge batteries, how far away I'm going, all like considerably all that in that zone.
Okay. And one more thing I wonder, how high do those fly? At what altitude does the drones go? Because I've seen some of the rooftop parties. I'm like, man, that thing goes pretty high.
Because I do not want to get in trouble with the Federal Aviation Administration, legally 400 feet.
400 feet?
Yes.
Okay. That's the proper term.
The proper term is 400 feet. So just to explain it more in detail for everybody at home, as a hobbyist, 400 feet is the highest you can go as a hobbyist. Once you become licensed with the Federal Aviation Administration, you can then go 400 feet to whatever building you are shooting. So like, for example, let's say that I get hired to shoot the Google building in Atlanta, right?
Right.
I can go, I think Google is, I want to say 450, 500. Don't quote me on it, but it's about that high in the high. I would say, then the FAA would say, okay, if you're shooting the Google building, you can go 400 plus 500. So that's 900. So the max I could go is 900 feet at that point in time.
Okay. That's cool. Tell us what not to do with the drone. Now, I've seen different interview news reports, things on social media where some guy was in prison and somebody flew the drone over the prison and brought him some items. And just tell us where not to fly, the no-fly zones for a drone that could get you in serious trouble if you do it. So
what I will say first before we get into the big details is know your judgment, right? That's the first thing. Okay. So if you know that there is a prison, do not fly a prison, right? Okay. We all know to be smart about that. No matter how much someone offers you money, all that good stuff. However, the Federal Aviation Administration has given us a tool to decide where we can fly and where we cannot fly. That tool can be found on apps such as Airloft's Air Control or Autopilot app. Okay. Now, neither one of them pay me, but those are the apps that I use. Okay. And when you go into those apps, it actually gives you an entire map of the United States. So, for example, let's break down Atlanta, right? The city of Atlanta is not on airspace. So you can really go up to 400 feet in the city of Atlanta and be fine. The times that you cannot fly in the city of Atlanta is during, let's say, Atlanta Falcons game or an event at State Farm Arena, so NBA games. You can't fly during college football games, so Georgia Tech can't fly during that game. Okay. Can't fly during a UGA game. Those are D1 schools, so they have temporary flight restrictions on them, or also known as TFRs. You definitely can't fly when the president's in town. The whole entire state of Georgia is almost in red. The whole Secret Service coming for you, huh? Big time. So actually, funny story about that. I was down in Midtown, right across the street from the Hyatt Centric in Midtown, one of my clients. Right. And I just wanted to scoot the city one day, which, you know, we all have scooters down in Atlanta. So I was just scooting the city and there was a wedding going on across the street. Joe Biden happened to be in town during that time. I didn't have my drone because I knew that. But the guy who was doing the wedding, he had his drone. I've never seen so many Atlanta PD officers swarm one person at one time for taking off their drone. So definitely when the president's in town, don't do it. Okay. So those were the top places not to fly the drone. Yes. Other places not to fly a drone is near an airport. So don't fly near Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. I mean, everybody should know that. But the amount of people who will still try it is crazy. Just like flying next to Dobbins Air Force Base. Unless you want some F-22 scattering around and the whole entire military finding you, you don't want to do that neither. Okay. And just tell us what has been some of the most lucrative industry that you've made money from with your drone. I know the real estate companies should use drones all the time in the real estate industry, construction industries. What are some other industries that you think are lucrative and some of the other clients that you work with that people can, they can go out and talk to and maybe get business for their drone? I think the most lucrative areas is going to be businesses on social media. And the reason, what do you mean by businesses? So I mean any business that has like an actual building or any corporation or any event that's possibly going on, because those are where you can make your money and those are where you can find more businesses and more sponsors and more companies. Because a lot of times what people fail to realize is that when you get out in this drone industry, it's not like the photography and videography industry. I'm gonna come out and say it. The drone industry is very dog eat dog. I've lost friends in the drone industry because of the fact that I've made more money than them or I've produced better content than them. It seems like it's not that much, it wouldn't be that much competition, right? So you think that, but the amount of people who have
We're
drones
starting. Yeah.
and it's starting to have drones, and the amount of, and I'm gonna say the amount of non-licensed drone pilots that are flying out there and not getting licensed and still getting money for what they do, they're messing up the business for the rest of us, right? So because of that, it's became a dog eat dog world. Just like real estate agents, a lot of them have gone to go get their own drones. And the FAA realized that, and the FAA actually decided to cut down on that by telling real estate agents, if you guys don't get certified, we're gonna find, and we find out, we're gonna find you $11,000. So with that being said, it's been a lot of give and take in the drone industry, and very dog eat dog compared to the photography and videography industry, where most of them, they kind of share gigs, or they'll be like, hey, I need a second shooter who needs help. Yeah, it doesn't really happen like that in the drone industry.
Okay. As far as approaching the right person, just say you contact a corporation, who do you talk to within that corporation in order to solicit your business? Is that the PR office, or would you go to the marketing department?
To be honest with you, I don't have the right answer for that.
Right.
And it's not because like I can say that I haven't had enough corporate jobs or anything like that. It's just
they saw your work.
They saw my work on Instagram,
on social media, and contacted you.
And exactly.
Do you use LinkedIn? So
I do use LinkedIn from time to time. However, I've kind of kept LinkedIn for my corporate life, since I do have a corporate job outside of this.
That's true.
Even though my corporate company knows that I fly drones too, I just kind of have kept it kind of LinkedIn more corporate-y, and then Instagram more business-wise. But a lot of times, I would say the departments that you want to reach out to, you're looking at the PR departments, right? So the public relations departments, because they're the ones most of the time handling the actual Instagram pages or the actual websites.
Yes, they are.
And if you don't see the PR department, just the thing that I say always do, go look it up on LinkedIn. Go find somebody on LinkedIn. And I think a lot of people use LinkedIn for just like, having a corporate like resume, but they forget to realize that LinkedIn is really like a social media company as well. So you never know what you're going to find on there. Yeah, so you could use LinkedIn, but I definitely recommend Instagram as your way to contact a lot of people.
Okay. We want to touch on the rights. Just say you're doing an event and you submit the clients the aerial photos along with the drone footage, and they want to use the footage without your permission. Who owns the right? Do the client owns it, or do they have to fill out a form saying that they release the photos? You release everything over to them, or how does that work? So, I know. This famous photographer took a picture of Cameron. It's an iconic picture with him with the pink on. He used it, and the photographer sued him.
Yes, definitely.
So does that kind of work the same way in the drone business?
It does work the same way. So
they can use it if they use it without your permission, and you can.
Oh yes, definitely. I've had clients plenty of times.
You've experienced that probably.
And outside of just clients, on my Instagram page, if you go to @CEOXDrone, you'll see I have a statement on my Instagram page that says all content is copyrighted. Okay. Please DM for inquiries, because I won't call out the Instagram pages because I don't think it's appropriate to. But they will go on there and take other people's content and then repost it. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that they have their own terms and conditions. So if they're reposting your content and you look in their terms and conditions, their terms and conditions also state that they can use your content that they just reposted for anything that they want. Ooh. So how I operate with clients is I have an agreement with clients. Now, if they read the agreement, that's totally up to them. But when I send the invoice, it's attached to the invoice, and it's my terms of service. And inside my terms of service, it lists how copyrights go, right? So all copyright belongs to me. When you hire me to shoot your event, the copyright footage belongs to me. When I give you the reel still belongs to me. However, I am handing you over the deliverable that I promised you. Right. Now, what I allow for clients is any reel that I give them, they can post as freely as they want, use it how they want, right? They can even save it, chop it up if they want to, right? However, all the raw footage belongs to me. They do not receive that raw footage. They just receive their deliverable. Where another one of my clients, I tell them, hey, Do you want the raw footage? They say yes. Okay. Would you like it to be where it belongs to you and you can use it as you want? Or would you like it to be where, hey, if you come and use this footage, you have to come to me and ask me, right? And I leave that up to them and then they tell me. Now, granted, if they say, hey, we want to use it, we don't want to come and ask you, guess what? Now you're paying more.
Yeah.
Where if you're saying, hey, we just want the deliverable, okay, you pay the typical price. But if you want me to release copyright, which I call it exclusive rights, now you're gonna pay more for it.
Okay. Good deal. A lot of people. That's gonna help a lot of people.
It
out,
will.
As far as deciding who owns the copyrights
And
things of that nature. So
one thing I will tell everybody is, and I know the Instagram gods are gonna kill me for this. Copyright your stuff. Watermark your content, right? Because your content can get stolen if it's great, right? It can get stolen. Even if it's not so great, there's a high chance that it can get stolen. These businesses will eat you alive. They will take your content. They will use it for years to come and repost it years to come. I actually have a friend right now who that literally just happened to him. A year ago, he had gave a company a video and they said, oh, we're only going to use it one time. A year from today, the video is being used again on an ad this time that is making them money and making him no money.
Okay, I got it.
So,
I understand.
Watermark all your stuff so that people know, hey, this is who it belongs to and they can't steal it. Well, they could technically still steal it, but at least your watermark's on it.
Okay. You also mentioned, I'm kind of going back earlier to, what are you doing to stand out from the competition? I know you mentioned there's so many new drone businesses and people just buying their own drones. So that means that you're going to have to, when you go into pitch to companies, add more services, additional services, or what are you doing to stand out from your competition?
So I'm going to use the term the way I like to call it, right? Okay. I watch a lot of wrestling.
Okay.
So I'm a big WWE fan. I know it's fake, but I'm still a big WWE fan. Okay. And one of my favorite wrestlers is Roman Reigns. And when he cuts a promo, he's the baddest person in the room at that point in time, right? So the way I look at it is he calls himself the final needle mover. I look at myself the same way. So I'm the final needle mover. So if somebody starts something, I'm going to find a way to better it. But I will say that what has set me apart the most is when I started the drone industry, it was 2022. It was 2021 when I became a hobbyist. The entire Reels thing, like TikTok was really just taking off. People were just getting into Instagram Reels. And I was talking to my girl and I was like, well, what's going to set me apart? Because there's so many drone pilots already. And she was like, do Reels. And I was like, never thought about that. So then that's how my business came about. I actually started doing Reels, and originally my first business name was xeffectvisuals. And then after that, I was like, I need to kind of change that. So that's when I actually coined my Instagram name, CEO X Drone, during that time. And what the CEO part stands for is creating every opportunity with a drone.
I like that.
And literally after that, I just started going hard on Reels. And that made the drone industry switch to Reels. Okay. So I was looking at some of my friends who were making landscape YouTube videos, and now they turned into doing Reels. Yeah. So that's what set me apart. But then what also sets me apart from my competitors and my peers is that my client knows what they're getting from the start. If you go on my Instagram page, I'll let you scroll all the way to when I first started. You're not going to see one video that does not show you the type of work that I can do, right? Okay. You're also not going to see every video that has a collaboration on it, but you're going to see that I collaborate with a lot of businesses and a lot of cities. Okay. And with that, you're going to see how I make a statement throughout collaborating with those cities.
All right. Great answer. I'm sure that information is going to help a lot of people. And we want to thank you for coming out today and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge about the drone business. Is there anything new developments that's taking place at your company? Can you just kind of give us a short rundown of that? Any new projects you're working on or anything new for 2025 coming up?
So, first, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. This was the first time doing this, and I look forward to doing something like this again as well. I will say first for my company, for the rest of this year, the biggest thing that I love to have my fans, my followers, my family, my girl, my friend, like everybody look forward to is Christmas time. Every year I start Operation Christmas Season. And what that is Operation Christmas Season is my favorite time to go enjoy all the Christmas lights as possible. So looking forward to that. That's what's coming up next. We just finished fireworks season. Fireworks season is very short because it's only the 4th of July. And then fair season is also coming up, which is when I try and capture like some of the state fairs and everything else that's going on. Other drone pilots don't call it that, but I call it those things.
And also tell our audience where we can reach you. Give them all of your contact information, and where can they look you up for your drone services?
I would say the best place to reach me is going to be my Instagram pages. So it's going to be at CEOXDrone or at xeffectvisuals. Those two are the best places to reach me, just because of the fact I'm on those platforms every single day. So I'm on those platforms, posting content, on those platforms, engaging with followers. So that's the best place to reach me. If you want to reach me throughout email, you can reach me throughout email at xeffectvisuals@gmail.com. And most of the time, though, like I tell everybody, straight to DM on Instagram is the fastest way to reach me.
Okay. And again, man, I want to thank you for coming out. You're the first African-American drone pilot that I know.
Thank you.
And you were definitely the first guest on our show as far as being a licensed FAA drone pilot. And again, I want to appreciate you for coming out. I want you much success in your business.
Thank you.
And I want my fans and followers definitely to reach out to him for your drone services. Do you travel out of state as well?
I will travel out of state. My out of state charge on that is just just to cover all the amenities, so like hotels, rental cars, stuff like that.
All right.
But yeah, definitely travel out of state.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, there you have it, entrepreneurs, streetpreneurs, and everybody that's aspiring to start a business out there. Definitely reach out to him. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Definitely tune in to watch my new episode we got coming up. We got a lot of entrepreneurs coming up for this season. And I want to thank you all for watching the show. And again, follow, like, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.